Hello, Ramley and other family. I'm Peo Time, and I'm having a Sunday stream to talk about the Rams and their game last night. We had an epic time at the watch party. Thank you for everyone who came to that. If you are watching this, please like and subscribe, all that jazz. If you're watching this on the replay, friendly reminder, hit that like button. Really helps me out, changed my life forever. And we're going to start off by going through my 5 takeaways from this. And then I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts. I enjoyed the game. It was great. It was my first time watching a full game since the Packers playoff victory over the Rams. So it was just great to be watching the Rams again. I know it wasn't the first team, but it was fun to have football back. So I'm thankful for that. But so I'll start off with my 5 takeaways from the game, and then I want to hear from you guys. What did you think of the game? And I'll go through all the comments. So my first takeaway, and it's one that everyone's talking about, is Chris Garrett had a game. Yeah. I think in my short today, I think I said he had 2 sacks, but yeah, I guess it was actually 1.5 sacks. He had tackle for a loss, forced fumble, 3 QB pressures. And Chris Garrett, he showed what you need to do when you're a 7th round draft pick. He showed up in the preseason. If you are trying to make an NFL roster as a 7th round draft pick, you look no further than Chris Garrett. He was phenomenal last night. I really, really appreciated. You could tell he's worked on his technique. You can tell the game slowed down for him, and he was the best player on defense last night. Just a phenomenal performance by Chris Garrett. I really think that cemented his spot on the Rams' final 53-man roster, and I'm excited to see him this year. I think he looks like an NFL player, and he definitely, coming off that end on that blind side, looked fantastic. So yeah, I'm really excited about Chris Garrett. Let me know if you guys are too. My second takeaway from the game is Perkins had another strong game. Teams will notice. So pardon my grammar there. But the reality is Bryce Perkins played really, really well. Not like, generational talent, but he played better than I think a lot of teams have at their current QB depth chart. And I suppose I just heard probably like half an hour ago that the Falcons lost one of their, I think their 2nd or 3rd string QB to an ACL tear. So maybe the Falcons are a team that would look to pick him up. I shout out here to North Dallas 40. I see he already comes in with that comment of, what will we do with Bryce? We can't keep 3 QBs. If we waive Bryce, he'll be snatched in seconds. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with Bryce. If there's a scenario where we can trade him to get some kind of compensation, that would be really cool. But Bryce Perkins looked fantastic for the most part. He doesn't have the big arm that other NFL quarterbacks have. However, there were some really good plays. His athletic ability can always keep him in games, and he just showed some grit. And you look at it, if the Rams, don't have that bad punt by Matt Gay to give up the first touchdown, I think the Rams win that game convincingly. But Perkins, I think the biggest thing with him is he got off to a slower start last night. Once he got in a rhythm, he looked great. So, yeah, that'll be something we need to continue to see from him. But I've really enjoyed watching Bryce Perkins the first preseason game. And then it was cool that he played the entire preseason game. That was a surprise. But no offense to Duck Hodges, but I didn't miss him at all. I think that this offense looked better with Perkins. And I look forward to seeing what happens with Perkins. Definitely one of the more interesting storylines for the Rams, 100%. My third takeaway is Who do we keep at cornerback? The reality is we have some cuts coming up. And if you look at a lot of these things, I just made some notes here that I want to refer to. So, yes, J.R. Reed had a performance with two pass. He broke up 2 passes and got an interception. Juju Hughes broke up a pass, and he had some flashes last night. Kareem Orr was a tackling machine. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think that we're a team that has a good secondary. Like, it's a good problem to have, but whoever we cut is going to get picked up by another team. That's something that you never want to see a good player get cut, but it means that you have a talented team and you have depth. So that's exciting. My fourth takeaway is flags were flying on the Rams. Yeah. And I know this is preseason. I know I'll always caveat with that preseason football just seems to have this, undisciplined nature to it. And I am definitely perplexed to see what happens with the all these flags. I hope the Rams are a disciplined team, but McVay will definitely look to improve upon 10 flags for 84 yards. But yeah, and a few of them came at just like game-breaking moments, especially that run by Xavier Jones that would have got them to the 1 yard line. You just can't have penalties on plays like that. And hopefully the Rams will clean that up before the season starts, because we definitely don't want to be a team that is overly penalized all season long. And I find that if a team gets a rep for being like a penalty happy team early in the season, refs kind of like look for them, like I kind of expect it of them, like as the season goes on. But definitely want to clean that up. And my fifth and final takeaway from this game was Funk and Jones will fight for the number 2 running back position behind Darrell Henderson. I think Funk took the lead this game. Both had some good runs. They both looked better than the first preseason game. That's clear. I know that there are some Ram fans out there that definitely want the Rams to still sign someone. I'm not convinced that they're going to do that at this point. I do think that they were improved last night for sure. Jake Funk looked like the better runner between the two, but not by a lot. Like, I still think it's a close race for that backup RB slot, but we'll see. We will see indeed. I'm looking forward to seeing more of these guys in the third preseason game, and I would expect. Sean McVay said in his post-game press conference that just the nature of the game, they had to air it out a lot because they were down. But I think, look to see that ground game really, go heavy in the next game. I could see McVay wanting to see a lot from these young backs and get them lots of reps. So we will see. We will see. Anyway, that's my 5 takeaways from the game. Chris Garrett and Perkins getting noticed. Continuing to ask what's going to happen at cornerback because we obviously have depth there. Flags are a concern, and looking forward to the battle between Jake Funk and Xavier Jones at running back. So I want to hear from you guys. So let's go over to the comments, and we got a couple in here. So AMS, good to see you. Saying hello. Peo, hello, Ram Brothers. How would you rate this year's draft to Snead's other drafts? It's so hard. It's still too tough. Like, it's too tough to tell. Like this early. Because what's a successful draft pick? One that you can come in and they can start right away, or one you can develop and they become a solid starter for a couple years. I guess that's a little subjective, but I would say compared to other years, I think this was a draft class that was definitely drafted for depth. They weren't necessarily looking for a superstar. The Rams kind of feel they have that top tier talent, and they're looking for people that can, or players that can come in and contribute and make the team. And we look at guys like Ernest Jones, Chris Garrett, and Jake Funk, who they're showing up. Jacob Harris, right? These are rookies. They're showing up. Tutu Atwell, right? All of them have had plays in the preseason, which doesn't always happen when you draft players later. So compared to other drafts, that's a really good question, AMS. I think I'm going to say that we'll have to wait and see, but it looks like one of Snead's better draft classes. Yeah, we'll see. And AMS also asked, did you have any crazy dreams last night after eating all those wings? No, I did not. Those wings were hot, and I enjoyed eating them and consuming them, and I'll definitely have to continue to eat food while I watch football and have a watch party. But yeah, I did not have any crazy dreams after all those wings. Tony Korn, yo, welcome on in. So glad you're here. Big Play Slay, Eagles fan in the house. Glad you're here. AMS saying, why not trade the Wolfman and keep Perkins? Okay, yeah, AMS, that's a great question. I've seen a lot of Rams fans actually talking about this, and I think it comes down to Wolford's grasp of the offense is greater than Perkins. There's a reason why Sean McVay is sitting Wolford the entire preseason, right? He feels he's already won that starting job. If you watch, go to John Wolford's Instagram account and any of his training videos, and you just see the fire in this guy's eyes and the work ethic. And even Bryce Perkins in his press conference last night, he gave a shout out to Wolford about how he learned from him and how he had just such a great grasp of the playbook, and how Wolford's really just been an inspiration and mentor to him, and encouraged him to develop and get better each and every day. And so don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Bryce Perkins. He's been a joy to watch the past 2 games, but I'm still of the camp that Wolford is our backup QB, and we need to keep it that way. But we'll see what happens with Perkins. Definitely one of the more interesting things that will come out of this camp. Last Saying Prince, welcome on in. Glad you're here. That was an awesome pass and grab by Perkins and Harris for the touchdown. Yeah, that was a nice crisp. Harris ran a perfect route to the corner of the end zone. Perkins lobbed it up. No one else was going to pick that off. It was going only to Harris. And the perfect pass. That's what you want to see. And a well executed line. Wow, still okay after last night's game. Yeah, I'm okay. I know it's preseason. The way I see it, it's funny. I've seen a lot of Raiders fans talking trash about how they own the Rams, and I don't see that. I think that I think that the Rams, to be honest, outplayed the Raiders in a lot of aspects of the game. Just the score didn't translate. And again, if Matt Gay doesn't have that one horrible punt at the start of the game, Rams win that game. But anyway, I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jarrett? You doing okay? I hope Frank, welcome on in. Glad you're here. He's saying, I hope Perkins gets picked up by the Lions. That'd be interesting. That'd be really interesting. I had mentioned earlier, I heard just probably 40 minutes ago that the Falcons are actively looking for a QB because they lost one of their second or third QBs to an ACL tear. So maybe the Falcons are on the phone with Les Snead. We know they have ties to the Falcons organization through Kevin Dimoff and Les Snead as well. So I don't know. Maybe there's a little phone call being like, hey, what would it take for us to trade for Bryce Perkins? We don't want to risk some other team picking him up. I don't know. We'll see. Frank, Perkins could be better than Stafford. Okay, so Frank, I'm gonna guess you're not a big fan of Stafford. I would politely disagree with you on that. Perkins is great and he's very athletic, and I think he can be a serviceable quarterback. However, in terms of arm talent, nowhere close to Stafford. The big plays down the field, reading the defenses, the football IQ. Perkins just isn't there at this time in his career. Maybe he can develop into that. So I guess in that sense, your comment is right, because I guess anyone has that potential and you never know, right? I think Stafford still is an elite level, quarterback with the potential to be an MVP. I don't see Perkins having that much upside yet. He would have to continue to develop. And there's a reason why Perkins has not been been on a 53-man roster. That's just something, you have to consider. AMS Tutu, yeah, he can. Yeah, Tutu took AMS. I just don't swear, but I appreciate your comment. I want you to know that. Tutu, one tough son of a female dog. He can take a hit and get up. Yeah, he can. I am concerned. It seems that Tutu gets nicked up, but hey, as long as he stays on the field, one of the best abilities is availability, right? So let's hope that stays intact. Rams House, welcome in, Rams House. So glad you're here. I am doing well. How are you doing? I had a day of rest. Went to church this morning online, and then did a little bit of shopping on a Sunday afternoon, a little bit of hiking. And then I'm going to talk Rams right here. That's what I'm doing. So I'm doing good. I'm doing so good. So good. How are you doing, Rams House? Jared, Raiders fans, just like the Cowboys fans, are the one fans I see. Yeah, I don't really get it. I just think that I just think that it's funny because it's preseason. Again, winning a preseason game really isn't that big of a deal, because the primary reason for preseason is to get ready for the regular season, and teams don't run their full offense. If you're like the Rams and most other teams, you don't play your best players. So congrats to the Raiders on winning a preseason game. If that brings them joy, I'm happy for them. Yeah, I don't get the trash talking from the Raiders fans about a preseason game, 1-point game, which the Rams could have won, especially if it wasn't for that Matt Gay punt that set them up in good field position at the start of the game. The Rams, they definitely, they dominated that game, in my opinion. Maybe not dominate, but they outplayed them. E-Money M, welcome in. Glad you're here. Hope you're doing well. And I'm just going to say, E-Money M, that is Spider-Man in your profile pic. And I love Spider-Man, and I apologize that all these time I did not realize that was Spider-Man in your profile pic. That's awesome. Anyone else watching Top 100? What player honestly might be higher than Donald? Yeah, I hear you. He's just so dominant. I think Mahomes will get love just because the quarterback position always gets love. But yeah, I think that I passively watch the top 100. I'm always interested in it. And if some of my favorite players are in there, I want to always watch what's going on. But yeah, it's a great series. Anything that NFL Films does, I just feel they do such a great job. Very entertaining. Tribe, welcome in. Agreed. If you can get anything for Wolford, deal them. Yeah, you know what? I guess if the price is right, yeah, you're right. Deal them and then stick with Perkins as your backup. If the Rams are comfortable with that, and maybe there's a trade scenario out there where the Rams would trade Wolford. Yeah, I don't know what it would take. It'd probably have to be a pretty good trade. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. No, 12 years of him is enough. I was joking. Wait, I think you're talking about which one were you joking about there? I'm sorry, Frank. I'm bad at keep going. Oh, right. Perkins better than Stafford. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm not always good at reading sarcasm in comments. My apologies, Frank. Last saying, Prince. Oh, yeah, I didn't mention this. Oh, this is tragic. I saw Calais is injured. Do you think they will try and grab another running back now? Yeah, so Rams House, I saw him. I don't know if the reporting is the right term, but he acknowledged it on his community tab, and that's where I first saw it. And then read about it that he is going to miss about 4 to 6 months. So that's unfortunate. You just never like to see injuries. And he was looking to be one of our return guys, so that's tough. That's really tough. I don't know if the Rams will try and grab another running back. At some point, you have to think they might, just because we've lost 2 now. And do you want your running back room to be Henderson, Xavier Jones, and Jake Funk? All 3 of them have had injury history. I know that's part of the game, especially at the running back position. Maybe I don't know. There are options out there. I am tired of people telling me that the Rams are looking at Le'Veon Bell. I don't want Le'Veon Bell. I get excited about Todd Gurley. I'm not sure that's the best option. Adrian Peterson would be cool. Maybe Royce Freeman. I don't want Devontae Freeman out of the veterans that are out there. Those are just kind of off the top of my head. I disagree because I watched him closely with Stafford. That's what you mean, Frank. Thank you for clarifying. And no, that's cool. You're more than cool to disagree with me. I am not above being wrong, and I am not above hearing others' perspectives that differ from my own. Actually, that's one of my favorite things to do. I love hearing opinions and voices that are unlike my own. So, Frank, I really appreciate that. Thank you. And as for it, if you think Perkins can be better than Stafford, yeah, power to you. And that's kind of the fun thing about sports, is speculating about what if, right? And Perkins is clearly more athletic than Stafford. And so yeah, we'll see. Speaking of Perkins, Ram says saying Perkins played his heart out. Yeah, you could tell he was in that game. It's so cool they let him play the full game. And yeah, he was balling out. And you could tell he was salty that he didn't hit that final 2-point conversion for the win, but it is what it is, as they say. And Ramsey is doing well. Glad to hear. Okay. Yes, Tribe. Thank you for this. Sony Michel, Latavius Murray, David Johnson, Benny Snell. Could be some good names available. Yeah, okay. I didn't mention any of those. Those are also good names. Out of those, I personally lean towards Latavius Murray out of those 4. Sony Michel closely behind that. I've seen Latavius Murray when he gets going, he is a great running back. He did that a few times with the Vikings and with the Saints. I would be excited about Latavius Murray getting signed. Rams House, I'm getting excited for the Rams Broncos preseason game. Rams House, I am super, super stoked for you. I hope you take tons of pictures because I'm going to be watching your channel. I have no doubt that you are going to produce some great content from that experience. I wish I could go. Rams House is going to the Rams versus Broncos preseason game coming up. And that is awesome. I am jealous. That is so cool, Rams House, and I hope you have a great time doing it. Jarrett, Spider-Man or Superman or Iron Man or Batman, who's more spectacular? Ooh, well, they do call him the spectacular Spider-Man. No, honestly, I'm a nerd. I love comic book superheroes, all that jazz. I would say this. I personally, out of those four, really love Spider-Man a lot. I love the story of Spider-Man. I love the fact that he struggles to make ends meet. Clark Kent with Superman, he's a high-end reporter. Iron Man and Bruce Wayne are both billionaires. I love, the guy who's just struggling to pay his bills and stuff because we relate to that. Or at least I do. I don't know if all of you guys are rich, super billionaires watching my YouTube channel, but I for one am not. I am someone who I like to be smart with my money, and I like to grind for it. But I would probably say Spider-Man out of those. But thanks for the question. Thanks. That's Jarrett. That's really cool, Jarrett. Ram says, I still love Wolford's game. Awesome work ethic too. Love, big fan of John Wolford, and he's got that grit that you love to see, that fire in his eyes. I'm excited for this comment here. Let's see. GP Shadow, welcome in. Glad you're here. He's saying SoFi was great last night. Surprisingly, seemed like everyone got along pretty well. Yeah, after the first game, having some tensions. But that's awesome, GP Shadow. You got to go to the game. I wish I was there. But I love that we're not talking about a fight the day after. That's awesome. That's a win. That is a win for me. But that's awesome that you had a good time at the game. Frank, if Rams don't get to Super Bowl in the next 2 years, how long before a fan base turns on him? So I'm assuming you are talking about Stafford. And that's a fair question. You know what? Like, honestly, like, if Stafford doesn't have a great year this year, they'll be questioned. Like, people are quick to turn. And for what the Rams gave up to get Stafford, if he has like a Jared Goff-ish year, people are going to be like, why did we do this, right? I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year with the Rams. And I don't know if it's about, I'd love to say like Super Bowl is absolutely a must for the Stafford trade to be considered a success. And I think there's an element of truth to that. However, you also have to factor in that sometimes playoff games just don't go your way. But I think we have the team that can do it. I think that Stafford has the talent to do it and the coaching staff around him to do it. And to be honest, it's one of the most interesting seasons heading into this NFL season, or interesting stories headed into this NFL season, just because it's that old question of, okay, there's this phenomenal player on this really bad team. If he was on another team, he would do it. And you've always heard that about Stafford, right? I've heard that for years about Stafford, where if he just had a good coaching staff, or if he just had more like a run game, or if he just had more receivers around, and he's had some good receivers around him. He's never really had a run game around him, and he's never really had much of a defense around him. I'm really excited for this season. I think it's one of the most fascinating stories headed into this season. I am planning a video, hopefully coming up in the next probably 2 weeks, about like my top 5 storylines headed into the season. And Matt Stafford is definitely on that list for sure. But Frank, I really do appreciate the perspective on Stafford for sure. Caldwell got to the Super Bowl thing. Yeah, okay, but Jim Caldwell took over a stacked team from Tony Dungy with Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning, yeah. But we'll see. Peyton Manning was also, at a prime of his career, which Stafford's still in that ballpark. That was a stacked team that Caldwell took to the Super Bowl. JP shout out. Some of those Raiders fans are acting like they want to play okay. Yeah, again, I don't get it. Like, it's a preseason game. Like, even if we won, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, we won the game. That's cool, exciting. And probably like in my live stream party, I would have been like, yeah, we won. But like, it's a preseason game at the end of the day that doesn't count. And I'll forget the score of that game as soon as the season starts, probably. But congrats, Raiders. Congrats. Fingers crossed for Stafford's success. Yeah, definitely, Jared. Definitely. Yep. Yeah, we're hoping for that. And yeah, Frank, I very much agree with you. Megatron, Burleson, Tate, Holiday, Amendola was with him. But okay, yeah, Frank, I hear that. I hear that. Yeah, no, like Jim, and you know what? That's the thing, right? They had a good thing going with Jim Caldwell. When he got fired, Jim Caldwell won 10 games with them, and they fired him for Matt Patricia, who was clearly a downgrade at head coach. So that comes back to the Lions organization just not knowing when they have a good coach. But they were building something there. And then when Patricia came in, he rebuilt that entire defense. And yeah, I think that it's very much it's that comes back to that it's the Lions. But no, you make fantastic points, Frank, and the reality is Stafford needs to put up or shut up, right? He knows he has that pressure on him, and I think you see a fire in Stafford's eyes that he knows Rams trade a lot to get him, and the expectation is Super Bowl, no more, no less. Oh yeah, totally. We're gonna enjoy this season no matter what, Frank. Absolutely. Last saying, Prince, given how well Harris has played, how many games before you see him break out, or will he be held back by the Rams' depth after preseason? That's a really good question. Last saying, Prince, I'm gonna say I think Harris will have some really solid games next season. I don't know if he's going to break out into this like George Kittle, Travis Kelce type of receiver, which some Ram fans are kind of tooting him as. I still think he's a very talented player with a ton of potential, but he still needs to develop. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see his career. I'm looking forward to it. I think he's a great player. I'm glad the Rams drafted him when we did. I'm really curious to see, how we use him when Tyler Higbee is active, and Mundy's there as well. So I don't know. I think he'll have some good games. I hope he doesn't become just like a Gerald Everett type of player, because a lot of people think like, oh, he's replacing Gerald Everett. No, the reality is Gerald Everett had a role in this offense, but I think Harris can do more than what Gerald Everett did for this offense. So we'll see. We know Stafford likes to throw to a tight end, so we'll see. We'll see. Rams House is, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. I'm a pretty open book, but why is your channel called Payo Time? Yeah, no, thanks for that question, Rams House. I'm more than happy to answer that. It's not really football related. Payo Time has two meanings behind it. Number one is when I was growing up, I come from a family that just was often overworked, underappreciated, but very much has that mentality of paying your time, like paying your dues, hard work, and making sure that you acknowledge others' hard work as well. And so when you see people paying their time, or you're paying your time to achieve something great, that's kind of my cool way of saying pay your time, right? It's a little bit of a slang to it, but I thought it sounded cool, and it's a cool name. And then my other thing around it is when I was a little kid, I would play Lego, and I always had this one character in my little dream world called Payo, and he was King Payo. And I just like the name Payo a lot. I think it sounds cool. I like the double syllable to it, Payo. So when people call me Payo, I think that's awesome. But the full channel name of Payo Time, I can't even say my own name, is in reference to hard work and just appreciation for hard work as well. But thanks for I love, I'm more than happy to share about that. But thanks for asking. Frank, first year was 11-5. Great defense, lost to Dallas because offense only scored 3 field goals. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Frank. No, yeah, and Frank, okay. For anyone who is not wanting to like critique the Stafford trade or like I've seen some Ram fans that are like, no, it's going to work. Just don't talk about it if it doesn't work. No. At the NFL level, these coaches, these front offices, these GMs, these players, they're getting paid a lot of money. You are absolutely allowed to critique it. And if you have an opinion that it was a bad trade, you are allowed to have that opinion. And we can have a civil discussion about it. If you think that Stafford was not worth that, you can, I've heard that opinion. I'll be honest, I am of the mindset of I think it was a good trade. I think the Rams are going to be really good with Stafford for the next 5-6+ years. I think that Matt Stafford saved his career by getting this trade done. And I think that the Lions have an opportunity to rebuild in a way that they needed to. And I think Jared Goff has an opportunity with this trade. I think him getting a fresh start, he's still young, could have a really interesting perspective there. But no, you absolutely can critique the trade. I for one, I am excited about it. I think Stafford is a phenomenal arm talent. When I see what he's been able to do, in many of his fourth quarter comebacks, you can't deny the guy, he never quits, right? He'll never, if you're down in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left and you need a drive, Stafford can deliver that drive. And but I see that Frank. Oh, thank you, Frank. I really appreciate that. Yeah, no, I love talking football, kind of my thing. Always in a civil way. And if it ever goes, anything beyond that, no. And like I said, I love hearing others' opinions that are different from my own. I just got tired of his stick in Detroit. Yeah, okay, that's fair. And again, I'm hoping the trade is a good thing for Stafford. And thanks, Rams House, for appreciating that. Last Name Prince. How do you think Morris has done this preseason? Ooh, good question, Last Name Prince. Raheem Morris. What's funny? When they initially signed Raheem Morris, I had to think a lot about it, but I think it was a really good hire. It's tough to grade him because he's working with young players. Again, our secondary has looked pretty good with him, but it will be fun when we actually see Raheem Morris and he has Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey's out there, and the full rotation of pass rushers. I'm also curious of who ends up winning the starting linebacking roles. Again, anyone who's watched this channel for a long time knows I'm a big fan of Kenny Young. So I'm hoping Kenny Young is our starting inside linebacker just because I think he's ready to break out and have a career year. But I think Morris has done fine. But again, he, only time will tell. He's a veteran coach, right? Like, it's not like he's some noob. And so he knows what preseason's about, giving your players a chance to prove themselves. But Morris is under pressure for sure, taking over from Brandon Staley. Ram says, my only critique of the trade was the number of picks we gave up. I'm fine with giving Goff yet. 1 first rounder, 4. Yeah. And I think that comes down to it, right? Like, it was the 2 first round picks and Jared Goff, and a 3rd round pick, right? It's it's one of those things that you're always going to wonder what if. But again, only time will tell, and it's fun to speculate. It's fun to have opinions and talk through it all. Yeah. What? Look, yeah. Oh man, JP Shadow. I can't wait for that game. I can't wait for the Bears at Rams game. I'm going to be having a watch party that night for sure. Oh man, I am jazzed about that game. Oh man, I can't wait. I just can't wait. Head coach Matt Nagy has, continued to say that Andy Dalton will be the starter. And you know what? I heard a really interesting, I think it was Albert Breer was on the Rich Eisen show this week. And he said that, Fields has looked great. However, the veterans on the team have noticed that when Andy Dalton is commanding the huddle, he commands it, and he's able to talk to each player on the offense about what their role is. Where when Justin Fields comes in, he's told to play, and he kind of tells it to everyone, expecting them to know what it is. And that's the main difference between a veteran QB and a rookie QB in a lot of ways. So it sounds like Justin Fields, though an elite electric talent, who looked good in preseason, took a big hit, but he got back up. You have to respect that he's still got places to go, things to learn, and I don't think we'll see Justin Fields when the Rams play, and I'm okay with that. Frank, he loves to play, does well against prevent defenses. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you can't deny Stafford's love of the game, and yeah, he knows how to pick apart, a deep prevent. Yep. Jared, remember saying that the Vikings were the least exciting team to witness this season? It seems to be that they're not rebounding at all. Did I say that? Because I've often said the Vikings are kind of my dark horse team. I could see them, rebounding this year, but again, I haven't been following them that much in the preseason. But I'm curious to see the Vikings this year. I still think they have a great talent. Those two wide receivers and Thielen and Justin Jefferson. Zimmer's a brilliant defensive mind who had an underperforming defense last year. So we'll see. We'll see. Frank, is the Rams should slaughter the Bears because the Bears are – yeah, okay, I'll be honest. The Bears are one of the teams I'm really excited to see this year, just because I love a coach on a hot seat story, and Matt Nagy is a coach on a hot seat. I think that, if he comes in and has a year that, the team shows improvement. Now, again, they were a playoff team. People forget that, and they were the 7th seed, but I guess they weren't really a convincing playoff team, right? It feels like they just sort of stumbled into the playoffs. But they have an aging defense. We'll see. Allen Robinson is still a great wide receiver. If he can get some competent quarterback play, he's a threat. I'm not worried. We have Jalen Ramsey to take care of him week 1, but the rest of the season, I don't know. The Bears will be one of the more interesting teams. Fields looking good yet. And last name Prince. I keep hearing Chicago should go with Fields against the Rams. I think it's a little quick for such a great defensive team. What do you think? Yeah, it's a great question. And like I said, I just think that Fields has a lot to learn, like with reading defenses. I think if you're gonna put the rookie in and against an elite defense like the Rams, you have to make sure to try and set them up for success. Spread out your offense, have an up tempo, keep the defense on the field, as much as possible. You're going to try and have shorter drives that have big plays in them. Let Fields, run like a college style, offense. But I don't know. It's a great question, but I'm pretty sure we'll see Dalton. I don't think Justin Fields plays until at least 4 or 5 weeks into the season, unless there's injury. Depends on who you ask. Playing against. Okay, yeah, no, always important to remember that, Frank, in preseason. Ramsey is number 13 on the hunt. Yeah. You know what? That's Jalen Ramsey. I feel like okay. You can compare Jalen Ramsey to Darrelle Revis in a lot of ways. And I feel like Darrelle Revis, for the first number of years of his career, people really didn't understand how good Revis Island was. Like, he was doing it for years, and it wasn't until really like his 4th or 5th season where people were like, hey, this corner for the Jets shuts down everybody. And that's why, he got big money when he played for Tampa and New England. And so I think maybe corner is just one of those positions that you can have one good year and people are like, okay, cool, whatever. But it really is until you do it consistently. And Ramsey's been doing it consistently. So maybe it's just one more year. And after he shuts down a whole bunch of receivers this year, maybe he'll crack at least that top 10. But yeah, I'd definitely put Jalen Ramsey higher than 13. 8-8. Talking about the Lions again. I think. Anyway. Oh, you're talking the Bears. They were 8-8 last year. Yeah, again, they weren't a convincing playoff team, but because there was a 7th seed, they made it. Jared, once Aaron Rodgers retires or leaves the Packers, who should lead the NFC North? You know what? That's a really good question because, wow, that's an interesting question, Jared, because you have the Lions in a full-on rebuild. Bears, I'd call it a retooling, but that is an aging defense, so it depends how quick Justin Fields can get up to speed. You want to say the Vikings, but Kirk Cousins is kind of in a prove-it year, and then they might be looking, for a quarter. I would love to see someone like Gardner Minshew go to the Vikings. Yeah, I think that'd be just a really good fit. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I think the Vikings are a team that. I know they drafted a quarterback, but they're someone that would definitely want to bring some competition in for Cousins. And Cousins does well. He just doesn't do like the expectation for someone who's getting paid as much as he is. Yeah. Only got in. The Bears only got in because of expanded playoff format. What will Rams do with Bryce? Yeah, North Dallas 40. I don't know. It's definitely one of those interesting question marks that's going to get answered in the next 2 weeks. So I'm really excited about that. Frank, my Lions should lead the North, but they won't. Frank, I'm hoping the Lions do well for you. And yeah, we will see what happens. I'm cheering for Goff for you guys. Obviously not when he's playing the Rams. But I would love for Goff to reignite his career with the Lions, and we'll see. Ram, I think you Ram fans can find 5 Rams that you would rank top 5. You're probably right, Frank, and we're a little biased that way. I think the word underrated for the Rams when it comes to our players. It's funny because I often hear other fans say we're an overrated team with underrated players, and I don't exactly know how that works, but people are underrating on Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. I would say probably Jalen Ramsey, being 13, but 13 is actually still pretty good on the top 100. But yeah, those are funny. Okay, we're gonna clear this up right now. Will Rams House ever recover from my trolling? Yes. So North Dallas 40 had some fun last night, hopping between mine and Rams House's watch parties, and Rams House said, "Yes, I already am North Dallas 40." Yep. Yep. You didn't recognize me without chicken in my mouth. I enjoyed that chicken. Who knows what I'm going to eat next week? Tune in to my watch party to find out. I often get what's on sale. Okay. No Bears. I'm 59 years old, losing hope. Frank, you gotta always that's tough to see your team going through a rebuild there. But I hope the Lions have a 1 or 2, 3 year turnaround. That's the cool thing about the NFL. If you hit on a draft class, like you can turn your team around fast. Pick up a couple of good free agents. But there's always hope with a new. You gutted your coaching staff. You have a new quarterback. So here's hoping. You're not relying on Kenny Golladay anymore, which I actually think was a good thing for the Lions. I know it's not popular opinion, but just can't stay healthy. Perkins ain't going nowhere. He's cemented the number 2 behind Stafford. I don't think so. Just because Wolford, there's a reason. Like, I know he had his appendix burst, so they just wanted to let him heal up. But he could have played in the preseason, and he wanted to. It was the coaching staff that said, nope, no preseason for you, Wolford. Like, I'm pretty sure he's locked up the backup job, though. So we'll see what happens with Perkins. It's interesting, Trad. It really is interesting. Jared, you think the Saints will make the playoffs after Drew Brees retires? I don't. I really don't. I think the Saints are a team that is due for regression this year. I don't think they're going to be like a top or bottom 5 team, but I don't see them making the playoffs this year personally. But we'll see. It's exciting. It's exciting to see. I think they're going to be that team that, like, for a couple weeks, people are going to be talking about, be like, whoa, the Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill quarterback situation is working for the Saints. And I think it'll work good for like 2 or 3 weeks, and people will be talking about them, but then they'll fall off. But that's my own personal opinion. Last name Prince. I personally think it's weird seeing teams have pocket starting QBs but mobile backup. Yeah, okay. I would think that would affect the playbook a lot. Your thoughts? Why this seems to happen so much? That's a really, you know what? Last name Prince. I've noticed that too, and I think it's really just a matter of, if you have a pocket passing quarterback that can run the offense you want, that, like, that's your ideal, right? If you have that style of offense. But if he goes down, your backup, most of the time isn't going to be able to run your offense as efficient as your starter. So having someone who's mobile as your backup, it can, sure, you'll have a smaller playbook, but because he brings in that extra element of, defenses have to respect him on the run. I think it's just a way that teams can stay in games. And but you're right, it does happen a lot. It does, yeah. Shot by Nolan, welcome in. Glad you're here. I saw you watching Jake and the LA Football Network earlier. That was a great stream earlier today. Hated Jose Garage. Jarrett, I know the Buccaneers are going to win the NFC South for sure. Yeah, I just don't see a team ready to challenge them in that unless they take us by. It'd be a surprise. The Panthers, I don't see them doing it. Falcons, I don't see them doing it. And the Saints, I just think they're not in that realm. Last year was kind of the last hurrah for them. Their Super Bowl window is closed. Yeah, we'll see. Tribe Funk looked really good again. Yeah. Do you think he'll get some of the starters' carries? I said this as one of my 5 takeaways that I think Funk last night took a little bit of a lead in that RB2 race between Xavier Jones and Jake Funk. I think out of the 2 backs, he looked better last night. I think it's still close, though. Now, I'm not saying Xavier Jones looked like a smuck by any means, but I think it's close. I'm really excited to see what happens with these 2. And, only time will tell. Time will tell. But it's a great question. I think next preseason game, Funk and Jones probably have the most at stake in terms of getting playing time out of that, and I could see us having a run heavy offense next week for that reason. Niners versus San Diego playing at 4:30 LA, so that's 7:30 my time. Oh yeah, it's like almost half an hour. Okay, cool. Yeah, I might tune into that. I'll probably tune in for the Niners game. I want to see Trey Lance. I predict Bryce will be a Ram longer than Wolf. Interesting prediction, North Dallas 40. Very interesting. We'll see. I guess it depends, like, if teams want Wolford. Last name Prince. I would think that having a backup mobile QB would just cause teams to force them to throw, minimizing both the QBs and RB player. Yeah, but but that's the thing. Like with a mobile QB, even on a pass play, if the play breaks down, he can beat you with his legs, right? And so you don't necessarily need to have your full playbook out with your backup QB if he is more mobile. But I don't know. That's just it is an interesting trend. It really is. North Dallas 40. Time to buy a new Rams shirt. You're talking to me? I really like this shirt. I was hoping to buy a ton of Rams merch when I go to LA this year. However, it was looking like I was going to go, but due to some regulation changes, that is unfortunately in question with the pandemic happening. So I might not get to LA this year, which will make me sad, but I'll get over it and I'll continue to cheer on the Rams from afar. Yeah, I'll get some new Rams stuff. I know I've been saying that for months, but I'll get some new Rams stuff. But I really like this shirt though. It's really good. Payout time 600. Oh my, North Dallas 40. Stop trolling. Anyway. Well, guys, this has been a fun hour. We got. Oh yeah, shop it. No, these regulations have been. Yeah, no, and Nolan, it's honestly been a point of tension because I had booked off some time. I was either gonna go to the Titans game or the Jaguars game. But just for a lot of reasons, the Canadian politics are in play, California politics are in play, and I don't claim to be someone who knows enough to comment about that, but it is affecting my ability to go and see my favorite team in a home game in LA. But we will see. Last name Prince. Do you see the Bills? Trubisky looked like a starter. Think, however, get a chance to start again. Yeah, last name Prince. I did see Trubisky, and I'm happy he got revenge. I'm happy he looked great. And I always have said this about Mitchell Trubisky is he got overdrafted, and like if you actually look at him, he does have talent, but because the Bears traded up to get him, and he got drafted, so high, he never really got the opportunity. Like I think he's someone that, if he could have developed for a year or two, he could have just been awesome. I think if he would have been drafted in like even the second or third round, people would have been excited about that. But I think the Bills got a great backup QB in Trubisky, and especially for Josh Allen. Yeah, he might get the chance to start again, but to me, it'll kind of be similar to Marcus Mariota, where it's like you're happy as your backup. You don't necessarily want him as your starter, but we'll see. That Titans game could be epic. Yeah, that's why I was looking at going at it. But I remember you mentioned you were aiming for the Titans game. Yeah, I'm hoping to get to it, but it does not look good. September 9th is kind of the day I'll make my decision by right now. So I don't want to give a full, unless you guys want to hear this, but Canada last week, a week ago today, actually, they announced that we are having a federal election, and our elections are way different than American elections. They are a month-long campaign, which I know is quite different from the American election system. And so with that, and a potential change in government, that'll be changing regulation and everything. So our election date is September 20th, but September 9th, the Canadian government is supposed to announce some new travel restrictions. And so that's kind of the day I'll have to make my decision by, but then that could also change depending on who wins the election. So it's kind of a mess. And I don't like that politics interferes with my ability to go to an LA Rams game. But that's life. That's the reality of it. Thanks, Joe by Nolan. All right. Jarrett, is either Bills or Dolphins win the AFC East, but for Patriots or Jets, pretty questionable. Yeah, I to be honest, I would say I just think the Bills are a stacked roster. I don't see the Dolphins beating the Bills in that division race. They might split with them in games because division games are tough. But yeah, I think that I think the Dolphins can fight for a wild card. I don't see them beating any of those three teams. I don't see them being ready to beat the Bills for that division. And if you look at the Bills' schedule, it's a very favorable schedule. Actually, you know what? Here, I want to bring that up here. Again, it's an interesting division for sure. But I just think the Bills. Okay, here we'll bring it up. Okay, guys, I'm gonna do some screen sharing. Because I care to share. Sharing is caring. All those jazz, all those words. All right, take a look at this, everyone. This is the bad. This is what I want to show you. So yeah, take a look here. Zoom on in here. Make sure you guys can see a little bit better. So preseason, whatever. But if you look, so Pittsburgh can be a tough game. Then they're at Miami, Washington. So 3 kind of tougher games. But because they're the Bills, I still see them winning. Then they got Houston win. Okay, these 2, another tough game. But then here, this is where their season just, I see them going on a run after this bye week. So Miami again, Jacksonville, New York, the Colts, the Saints, New England, Tampa's okay. That's a tough game. Carolina, New England, Atlanta, and the Jets. Right. So if I this is again just kind of a speed without thinking of it. Like 1, 2, I would say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 10 is their floor, and ceiling as high as 15, really. So I think the Bills just they have a lot going for them. But that's the beauty of football. I would compare Trubisky to Mayfield. Interesting. I think Trubisky is more mobile than Mayfield. Mayfield maybe is more accurate. But interesting comparison. Okay. No, Frank. You know what? You can keep that. No worries. Anyway, everyone, it's been a pleasure. This has been a great thing to do. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. It really helps me out. I am going to cook up some pork chops for dinner tonight. And I have a watch party coming up, the next preseason game. I'll make sure that link is posted probably later tonight. Thank you everyone for tuning on in. Horns up. I'm Pale Time. I'm peacing out. Go Rams. Let's do it.